Hi, welcome to the other art craft session we've got for January, and this time we are going to make some very tasty cheese straws. And this is the first bit, and I'll show you how to make the cheese straws, and then we'll talk about when they're made, what you can do with them afterwards. Okay, so apart from eat them, that is. The first thing to do is to print off from our ARC Facebook page is this sheet, which should have the recipe on for you and everything you should need to make the cheese straws. Okay, so you might need some help, but we can get that printed off. That'll be the best place to start. Okay, the next thing to do, always with cooking, is to wash your hands. Make sure they're nice and clean. Okay, and these are the things you'll need. So you'll need some plain flour. You'll need some grated cheese, and the amounts are all on the sheet. You'll need some butter or margarine chopped up. You'll need a beaten egg, already beaten up. You'll need some milk just for brushing on the top, and a teaspoonful of salt, which I need to put in my flour, which I haven't done yet. There we go. And some extra flour for rolling out, a rolling pin, a baking tray, and the greaseproof paper to go in that will fit in the tray. So you want quite a big tray. There we go, so that will fit in your oven. Okay, so the first thing to do with your flour is put in the salt, which you've done, and then put in the chopped butter. There we go, like that. There are some extra things you can put in. It says on the recipe sheet there, if you want to make it a bit spicier, you could put in some paprika, some pepper, some herbs if you wanted, but that's up to you. Okay, so you put in the butter into the the butter into the flour like that, and then what you need to do with your clean hands is rub the butter and with the flour together, and keep on rubbing with your fingers. Rub it through your fingers until it looks like fine breadcrumbs. So it should look a little bit like that. There you go. When you've rubbed it all in, you can cheat and use a food processor if you want, but it's much more fun with your hands. Okay. When you've got that breadcrumb looking mixture there, then you need to add your grated cheese. So just pour that in as it is, there. And then you can give that a good mix round. So it's all, the cheese and the crumbs are all mixed together nicely. And then you make a hole in the centre, just a little dippy bit there. And then you can put in your beaten egg. Pour that in. Make sure we get all the egg in like that. And then also add just a little bit of cold water. I've said about up to 4 tablespoons, but start with just a little dash in the middle. And then what you need to do is generally just mix that through. Okay. Okay, so when that's all mixed together, you should have a nice round lump of dough in your bowl. Okay. Bit squidgy, but it'll all be good. So the next thing to do is it needs to chill in the fridge. Let's get those last bits in. Oops. It needs to chill in the fridge for about half an hour. So it makes it a little bit firmer then. So I'm popping it in a plastic bag, or you can wrap it in cling film. And then what you do is you put that in the fridge now for about half an hour, and then we'll talk about baking it. Okay, so our dough has been chilling in the fridge for about half an hour. So I'm going to take it out of its bag, and I've got the greaseproof paper here ready, the baking paper. I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of flour onto there, just so it doesn't stick too much, the dough. Okay, I've got my baking sheet ready. You put the dough in the middle like that. Then we need to flatten that out a little bit, because we need to think about making this into a rectangle shape, about the same sort of shape as your baking tray. So we don't want it too round, we don't want it too square, we want it a good sort of rectangle shape, almost as big as your baking tray. So then with the rolling pin and lots of muscle, you're going to do some rolling this way and a little bit this way until we've got it to fill our sheet like that. Okay, so off you go. Okay, right, the thing I forgot to say, but it is on the recipe sheet, is that you need to switch your oven on, preheat your oven. So I've done it all the wrong way around, but get your grown-up to put the oven on for you, and the temperature is all on the sheet. Okay, so this has all been very nicely rolled out, almost to a rectangle, which is fine. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the milk and my little brush, my cooking brush, and then just brush the dough all over with your milk. And that helps it have a nice kind of shiny finish when you've cooked them. There we go. I mean, you don't need to do this, but it's on the recipe, so we'll do it. You can also, if you want to, have some extra cheese and sprinkle that on top right at the end. That'll make it even cheesier and even tastier. Right. So then we get the baking sheet and we lift this very carefully onto the baking sheet. There we go, and it should fit just inside. And then comes, this is the time in which we make the straws. So starting from the long end at the top, like this, what we want to do is cut some straw shapes. You can do it with your rounded knife, the equipment you need. And we want them to be about 2 centimetres thick, just 2 centimetres wide, sorry. And that's just a rough idea, so that not too thin, otherwise they'll break, and not too fat, otherwise they won't be straws. So we do that all the way along. I'm going a little bit off at an angle here, but I'm sure you can do them straighter as well. I'm going to go back this way. You could even get a ruler out and be very, very careful, but I think I'm not going to bother with that. I'm sure you can do them very nicely. Oh, that's hurting me doing that. Right, and then right at the end, we're going to do one long cut in the middle, through the middle of the straws like that, all the way through, like that. Whoops. That the other way if you want to make sure. So that will leave you with two nice rows of cheese straws ready to bake, and all they need to do now is go in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. Hi, so this is the second part of our cheese straw make for the Art Craft in January. So hopefully you will have made your cheese straws, they will have cooled down, and you will have a collection of them like this. I've put mine back in the tray. They're nice and cool and ready to use. I've tried not to eat too many little crummy pieces, but it's very tasty. Okay, so we were going to have a go at making our own cheese straw picture of the temple and what it might have looked like. This is a picture. You can print this off from the ARC Facebook page. There will be a picture there that you can copy, and this gives you an idea of what it might have looked like when Jesus was a little boy. Lots of pillars, sort of steps and flat tops across the top, and little bits of decoration. There we go. Also, that's a picture you can colour in later if you want to. But we're going to use it just to build our temple with. So I'm going to start off with 2 bits along the top, which I'm looking at these pillars here. There we go. And there was a big long piece across the top as well. Like that, probably even a longer piece. Have I got a longer one? Yes, I have. Okay, and then we had some steps there. Now that might be tricky to do unless you've got some, might have to break one in half to have a little bit shorter there. And if you had a bigger board, you could have more steps. And then I'm looking at this, it looks like the door in the middle there. So I'm going to use 3 short pieces there for the door. And to decorate them, I'm going to use the pickles, the gherkins that I've cut into little round slices there. And I'm going to put those on the door. It does say in the Bible that the temple was decorated with patterns that look like fruit, like pomegranates, which I haven't got, and they'd be far too big to use here. So these are like little mini pictures of fruit and vegetables that they might have used to decorate. Yeah. And we could also use some of these bits of celery. Now they're a little bit curvy, like the curvy bits there on the temple. So I wanted to put those at the top of the pillars like this. We've got some different sizes we have. Yeah. Again, this is something you can just use your imagination and what food you have around at home, the foods you like, of course, and see if you can get something that looks a bit like this. And what would be really good is if you had pictures, take photographs of what you've made, and then if you personal message them to either Heather or myself, we will see if we can put them on the Facebook page so that everybody can see if you would like that. And I'm sure you can do some much better efforts than I've done. Along the top here, I'm going to put the grapes, and I'm going to put them all the way along the top. There we go. One more, I think, on the end. And as you can see, you can use your cheese straws and you can keep going, make it as big as you like if you've got a big board. And that would be really good if we could see some photographs. So the best thing about the whole of this is you can eat the lot at the end. Okay, so do take a photograph before you've eaten it, obviously, and colour in your picture and see how you get on. It should be fun and it should be tasty.